Yeah, there you go.
Okay, hello everybody, we're going to start now. I know there's more people on their way here. I know there's a lot of traffic out there. And I know there's a problem not only in Staten Island, but across the country. Christine, sit down. There's a problem across the country, and it's a pill epidemic. And the epidemic has really turned into a plague. I do interventions because I know what pills do to you. I know what opiates do to you. Because see, I never did pills until I had back surgery. But then I had back surgery and they gave me painkillers. And then the pain wasn't my back any longer. The pain was every time I ran out of pills, I was in worse pain. So there I was, chasing prescriptions and chasing doctors, and I found myself caught up in this disease. And when I found out I had a disease, I was relieved because I really didn't feel like it was worth me living or I was supposed to be alive. And nobody grows up. Nobody grows up and says, I can't wait to be addicted to pills. I can't wait to ruin everybody's life. I can't wait to hurt everybody who loves me. It just happens. Certain people have some chemicals in them, we call it DNA, in the genes that causes them to become an addict. Because, as you know, some people can take one pill and get sick to their stomach and never touch them again. And some people touch pills, and the next thing you know, they're off to the races. And I have parents that say to me, this is not my child. This is not the person I raised. I don't know where my son went. I don't know where my daughter is. This is not who's my kid. This is not my kid. And then, when they call about an intervention, and we tell them we need to get them to help, most parents are afraid. Most family members are afraid to let us in. I've had phone calls that they tell me, I know you're doing an intervention today, but are you going to beat him up bad? And I say, we only do ultimate fighting in the garage if we can get him in there, which really isn't what we do. We're going in there with love. I went to an intervention and a guy came in my face and said, go ahead, hit me. And I said, I didn't come here to hit you. I came here to love you and to take you to rehab and get you healthy and get you back. But how to get them there? No parent knows how to get them there. No family member knows how to get them there, and that's why interventionists, my phone rings off the hook. And I have to tell you that my phone number that I have now is forwarded to somebody almost 24 hours, 7 days a week, because I wouldn't even be able to do an intervention if I took all the phone calls I get, which Christina takes. And I get text messages all day long, you have to call this person, you have to call this person, you have to call this person. So, with the facility Behavioral Health of the Palm Beaches, we came up with an idea, which was really our idea too. That the people we do interventions on, when they come back, they come with us and do interventions with us. Because when I walk in and meet someone for the first time, some think I'm the police, some think I owe them money, or they owe me money, or some think the end is near. So we don't allow them to know who we are. When you tell someone you're getting an intervention, they put their defenses up very quickly, right? Because they know, if parents say, listen, I'm going to have you put away, I'm not going anywhere. You're not getting me to go anywhere. Because it's you trying to get between them and their drug, which they love more than you at this point. They love more than their family. They love more than their brothers and sisters. They love more than their grandmothers. There's nothing more they think of. The only thing they think about is how they're going to get more pills in their system, in their possession, so they don't go through withdrawals. I know. So, I do have to tell you also, Suboxone is like putting a Band-Aid on an open heart surgery, because Suboxone has opiates in it as well. And it says on Suboxone, I've gone to the pharmaceutical meetings that they have on Staten Island for Suboxone. Suboxone is good in the hospital. Suboxone is good for the withdrawal under medical supervision. But Suboxone wants to become the methadone of the 21st century. Because they say right there at the meeting that Suboxone is as addictive, if not more addictive, than the opiates they're taking. So it makes sense that you're going to get off the opiates that you're doing, but you're going to be addicted to their prescription. And there's people who are doing Suboxone for 5 years, 6 years, and does that really sound like they're getting better? But I hear people say, well, my kid's on Suboxone. Or my kid went to Staten Island Hospital detox for 7 days and then came out. 7 days of detox means that they're medically taken off of the substances. The treatment happens after that. They need to get off the chemicals in order to hear what the treatment is, to find out what the problem is. Because if you know, I want you to know, that drugs and alcohol and pills are not the problem, they're the symptom of a problem. Please shut that ringer off. Please shut ringers off, please, right now. So, I do a seminar, and I do want to thank everyone who's here tonight. I want to thank you all for coming. But as you know, with the problem and the way it is and what you read in the newspaper, don't you think that wall should be down and it should be people standing all over getting the message that I'm trying to give? I do interventions. If people don't have money, they don't have to pay for my intervention. I ask them at some point in time if you can donate to the foundation that works with me, that helps me, because really I went down to Florida with people who are in rehab who don't have money for anything other than the insurance that covers them. I buy them cartons of cigarettes. If they need underwear, I go shopping for them to make sure they have what they need in rehab. I run groups in rehabs. I run groups because I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this pill epidemic. When I walk in houses, every parent says the same thing. We've been in over 500 houses, over 500 interventions we've done. And every house we've walked into, they said, you're not going to get him to go. He's not going. And there's houses we've walked in that the person who we're doing the intervention on goes, I really appreciate you guys coming. Just leave your card and I'll call you. I'll call you, I promise, right? I'll call you. And I say, no, you're not, that's not the option. Your option is pack and let's go. That's the option. Because left to their own devices, an addict wants to get the last hurrah. They want to use until they die. You know, lab rats that do opiates do them until they die. They can't stop on their own. And we've lost many people to this disease who never even started to live yet. Does anyone here have a loved one or a friend who's addicted to opiates? Does anybody here know anybody who deals opiates? Okay. See, because my phone number, 855-JOE-BRAT, is the phone number you can call to anonymously report anything you see or anything you know or any people you see dealing drugs. You can call 855-JOE-BRAT, and I promise you something will be done. And I made sure that I took connections that would do something for me, because parents were coming to me and saying, I brought pills to the police station, and they said they can't do nothing about it, just throw them away. But if you know somebody who's dealing drugs, I need to know about who it is. I need to know about it. Because see, if they sell a pill to somebody I love and they die, I'm going to be pissed. And you should be too. It's not about ratting anybody out. It's about saving people's lives. Saving people from misery. Ladies, you want me to get you more chairs? Yes, sure. Okay, I'll explain. Opiates start as Percocet, Vicodin, then there's Oxycontin, the Roxys, heroin is an opiate as well, methadone is an opiate. All these are super addictive, and the Oxycontin and the Roxys are synthetic heroin. They're the next step. The next step is heroin. That's why people are, people are moving to heroin because it's easier to get. I'm sorry, when you go to the doctor to get painkillers, there's a choice. You can have, what is it, Tylenol with codeine is how it starts, and then that doesn't work anymore, so they go to Vicodin, which is the next strongest. Please shut that ringer. Then there's Percocet, 5s, 10s, 25s, and then there's Oxycontin, and then there's Roxys, which are 30 milligrams of pure synthetic heroin. I put on my Facebook this morning because I asked a girl, I talked to a girl we did an intervention on, and she said, I'm prescribed those from a doctor. A doctor gives me those. And I looked at her and said, does it say on the label, snort 4 pills every 4 hours? And she said, well, no. And I said, then that's a problem. Because they're snorting these pills, they're smashing them up, putting them on aluminum foil, smoking them with a lighter underneath it, sucking the smoke up. They're shooting these pills, injecting them, and then they go into heroin. And dealing with someone who's addicted to opiates, if you know and experienced it, it's dealing with someone who's possessed. It's almost, I tell people I don't do interventions, I do exorcisms. Right, Kev? We do exorcisms. Because they're so possessed, they're so intrigued by this drug that when I come in there, they know I'm coming between them and their drugs. That's why parents are so fearful. The parents tell me, my son tells me he only smokes pot. And I said, well, tell me what he does when he smokes pot. Well, he punches holes in the wall, he calls me the C word, he breaks things that mean a lot to me, and tells me he's going to kill himself. And I said, well, see, me being who I am, I know when I smoked pot, I ate a bag of Doritos, I watched cartoons, I laughed, and I fell asleep. Because I was stupid. So I'm going to say those symptoms are not marijuana. But now kids are saying that they're just smoking pot because they want, that gets the parents off their back. Oh, that's all it is, smoking pot, good. You're not doing those pills, right? I'm not doing those pills. Shut your mouth! And that's what parents are putting up with. There's people in the room who we've done interventions on who know what I do, and that I go into the houses and I don't leave no matter how long it takes, that I never give up. And there's parents here who know, who said to me, there's no way you're going to get them to go. There's no way you're going to get them to go. There is no way to stop on your own. There is no way because you could die. Your body goes through changes. When you do the opiates, the Percocets, the Oxycontins, it takes over your organs. It takes over your whole body, the cravings, the pain. The pain of withdrawals is the reason why you can't stop, because the pain is too intense. It's like a piece of glass you're going to break. And without medical treatment, you can't stop. If they say they stop, they switch to another drug. But there's always something there to try to take that pain away. Pills are not going to go away. Kevin called me the other day, he said, turn on CNBC. And CNBC said, the pharmaceutical company that makes Oxycontin made $300 billion on one prescription. Just for OxyContin's $300 billion. Do you think they're going to go away? Do you think they're going to pass a law? They don't, because pharmaceutical companies lobby Washington, and all the guys that are up in there and the senators don't even talk about pharmaceutical companies. All they say is, we're going to make a database. A database. So I'm going to tell you what the database does. The database does, it says, okay, I have a prescription that's filled, and I have 30 days to get it. But see, if I get 10 of my friends to go to doctors, which people are doing, and they go to doctors and they pay them to go to the doctors, they get 10 prescriptions for 240 pills. That's how many pills? 2,400 pills of OxyContin that they pay these people to go to hospitals and doctors for. I just got a report that there's a psychiatrist in Manhattan writing prescriptions for OxyContin. When I had back surgery and a scar, I have a scar on my back, I have bolts and screws in my back, I have rods through my pelvis to hold my back together. So when I walked in doctors' offices, I didn't have to bring an x-ray. I showed them my scar, I told them I had a spinal fusion, laminectomy, L5-S1, and he told me, oh man, how many do you need? What do you need? Does it sound like he really cared if I was addicted to them? He doesn't care. He wrote it up, they billed. That's all it's about. It's about their bills, billing people. Doctors are getting paid. I remember a mother told me just recently that she went to a doctor after her son went to rehab, and she said, now my son's not going to come in and give you $200 anymore for the co-payment. You lost my son's $200. His answer to her exact words were, you think I care about your son's $200? I make $60,000 a week. $60,000 a week writing prescriptions. That's insane. But that's what's going on here. Not only here, it's everywhere. Staten Island's not the worst. We've gone to how many, 3 different states in one day? We've gone to Connecticut, to New Jersey, and Staten Island, and done interventions in 3 different states. And everybody says it's crazy here. We drove 3.5 hours to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The whole town is on pills. It's everywhere. It's across the country, killing people. And I said, a long time ago, I looked at it, how it was going, and I said, it's going to beat alcohol-related deaths for the first time in history. Accidental pharmaceutical overdoses is going to be the top killer over alcohol-related deaths for the first time in history. In the thousands, in the 20s of thousands, in the tens of thousands, kids are dying from pills. And if they have a prescription in their name, in their pocket, police can't arrest them. Police will arrest you if you have 1 pill in your pocket. Now, I've spoken to the DA's office. The DA's office is stacked so high with files of kids who've been arrested that they can't keep up with it. They can't keep up with it. Then I heard that the DA's office is not prosecuting a lot of drug-related incidents because the DA wants to keep his numbers up of prosecutions just in case he wants to run again. Now, that doesn't sound fair to me. And I've gone down there and said, I need to know how I can have people who get caught for the first time with pills, I can have them released to me and mandated into treatment. Because see, what others say is, I'm 18 years old, I'm going there and I'm signing myself out. How do you like that? I'm 18, I can sign myself out. But in Florida, they came up with something 10 years ago when the problem was there, because that's where this started and moved up the coast. They started this thing called the Marchman Act. And the Marchman Act is if 2 people in the same family write a letter that says, my brother is doing drugs to the point where he's ruining everybody's life, we're afraid he's going to die, he needs help. The judge orders him to an involuntary assessment, which means he has to go before a therapist and talk about what drugs he's using, how long, and blood test, and urine test, and hair follicle test, which tells the truth. Because now the urine test is almost ridiculous, because everybody finds out how to beat them with test tubes and urinators, and we don't even want to get into that. I don't even want to get into what we found and how they find a way around it. A hair follicle test tells everything. I mean, I know you're looking at me saying, well, how are you going to get a hair follicle test, right? That's what you're saying. Look, all right? Chest hair, anywhere the hair comes from, it tells the history of how much drugs you've used. You know, when I go on interventions, when I do interventions, I have all the mass cards I collected from people who I tried to help. All the families who are devastated by the loss of one of their loved ones. 2 weekends ago, we had 2 people who we helped that passed away from this disease. I've had people who go into rehab and 4 days later be found dead, overdosed in their bathroom at 21 years old. 21 years old. Doesn't even know what life's about yet. Addicted to a chemical. And that's what it is. When somebody's doing drugs, all they think about is a chemical all day, all night. They don't care how they get it. They scheme, they lie. They do whatever they have to do to get more. Because that's what they're thinking. And until you break into that, however you do it, you know, Carol O'Connor, who was Archie Bunker, his son died of an overdose. And I remember a commercial that he made, and he said, do whatever you have to do to get between your child, your loved one, and their drugs. Do whatever you have to do. And that's what we do. When we do interventions, we do whatever we have to do to get that person to help. And I'm not going to tell you our secrets of how we do it. I'm just going to tell you that when people call us and they say they need an intervention, and parents will vouch who are here, and I say they're going, they go. Right? Right, parents? Because I can't walk in the house and say, hey, you want to think about it, if you want to go to rehab or not? You know, and they say, parents say, what happens if they run away? And I say, when they're doing drugs, do you really know where they are? I want to keep them close to me so I can watch them. Again, when they're doing drugs, do you really know where they are? Most drug addicts die at home, not on the street. 90% die at home, in the comfort of home, because that's where they use. Because parents want to keep them close, because they want to protect them, but you cannot protect them from it alone. Protecting them from it, ignoring it, you can't ignore it, or you find them dead. I invited some people tonight who lost children from this disease. And I want to tell you that those parents, when I see them, I don't know what keeps them alive, because most of them say, I might as well be dead. Because all they think about is what they could have done to save their loved one. What could I have done? Why didn't I do it? I should have, I would have, I could have. Interventioning is getting in between an addict and their drugs. Most of the time I tell parents, stay away when we're doing the intervention. You can't come. Because love cannot be involved in it. We get them help with the love we give them, because once I speak to a person who's addicted to drugs, they know I was addicted. I was there. I know the power of opiates. I know the power of alcohol. I know the power of cocaine. You know, and it's never been so epidemic-like with dying up until now with pharmaceutical overdoses. And that's why when I see in the paper, they don't put in the paper that someone died of an accidental pharmaceutical overdose. So really the statistics are really You know, most people say died at home. It doesn't say died while doing opiates, died while shooting heroin. Which, how can we really keep statistics true if we don't really get the reports on how they died? Nobody takes pills and says, I want to die, can't wait to die. Nobody graduates high school and says, I can't wait to go to 4 rehabs, 4 detoxes, rob everything my mother and father have, and make sure they have no jewelry that's left out, and all the heirlooms that we have are going to be hopped. Nobody chooses that to be their career, but a drug addict's first choice is, I need more drugs. I need more. Get me more. They don't care. So, as part of doing interventions, with myself, with Kevin, with Mike, with Sal, with Taylor, is J.M. still outside with a flashlight?
Yeah, he said it's not outside either.
Tell him he can call him up. Tell me to come. Tell J.M. he's off the flashlight too.
You could leave him after tomorrow if you like. You could go down.
When I ask parents how old is the child, who they hang out, what school they go to, I just need to tell you that when someone just told me a statistic, that in the last 7 graduating classes of Tottenville, 68 people have overdosed and died just from Tottenville. That's 68 people from 7 years of graduating classes. And that's one school. And then I speak to police and they say, you know what the worst drug schools are? And I say, what are the most drug offenses come from? Which schools? Farrell and Moore. Okay, so how come I don't have statistics from there? I want all the statistics. I want to know how many are dying from this disease, from those schools at such a young age. Because when I did drugs, I didn't expect to be this old. Because I didn't want to be this old. Only through treatment, I went to rehab, I went to detox. I was taught that I have a disease. A person who's addicted is not a bad person that you have to get good. They're a sick person you need to get well. And I'm telling you, when I go down and see people in rehab, everybody we get, I see them, they go, I want to get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I know what I gotta do. I gotta go see a therapist that's local. And I say, if you knew what to do, you wouldn't be in rehab. If you knew what to do, you wouldn't have robbed everything your mother had. I have grandmothers who sleep with their jewelry in their bedroom with locks on their door and pocketbook underneath their pillow so they can't get robbed anymore. JM, thank you for the flashlight. Thank JM for directing traffic, because I know it's hard to find. Let me see. Behavioral health of the Palm Beaches. I have a guy down there who says, I don't like it. Every day. This guy told me for every day, 5 days in a row, I don't like it here. You know what I tell him? It's not Disneyland. You're not supposed to like it. If you liked it, you might want to go back. You're supposed to learn here that you don't ever want to be in this rehab again. You take all the information that you possibly can and take it inside so you have protection and tools against the disease that tries to kill you every day. And then finally, I saw this guy down in Florida. He looks at me, he comes out, he's smiling, and he says, I'm staying. And I told him, good, because I was going to break your head anyway, so you go to intensive care so you couldn't go home. And then today, I'm on my way back to New York for this seminar, and I get a phone call, he wants to leave again. So this is what I got to go through, not only with one person, with many different facilities and many different people who are away, who want to come home. They think they're missing something. And then I tell parents the one secret, when your loved one is in rehab, do not answer the phone. And so many parents call me up and go, I know you're going to be angry, but I answered the phone. And my first thought is, why did you answer the phone? And they said, but they said it's dirty there. They said there's bugs there. They said the food is terrible there. They say they want to come home, they'll be good. But then I say, when they said they were going to stop and going to be good while they were home, did that happen? So please don't answer the phone. Or, like some mothers make big ziti because their kid says the food is terrible and detox.
I didn't do that.
Who said that? That's the key to recovery. Parents have to let go and let God. You have to have faith that it's going to happen there. And I know it's the hardest thing you've ever done, not picking up the phone. Because in our heads, we have catastrophic thinking. What happens if they kill themselves? What happens if they run away? What happens if they leave? The reason why they want to leave is because their mind is drug seeking. They want to do drugs. They don't want to get better. They're drug seeking. I know because I had someone who I put away in rehab. On the 4th day he was in detox. He left detox because he needed drugs. He went to Fort Lauderdale to go buy drugs. He realized he didn't have any money, so he had to rob drug dealers in Fort Lauderdale, and they killed him. The disease killed him. Lillian, how are you? You know, when I was in Florida too, I ran a group, and this woman who I saw in there, she was so beat up. She was so beat up. She was on a walker. When she first came in, she was on a walker, and she couldn't walk, and she couldn't hold her head up, and she could not dribble. She was dribbling. And I saw her 4 weeks later, and she saw me, and she was standing there with no walker, her smile on her face. Excuse me. And she said, I'm going to give it a go. I want my life back. I never really lived without drugs or alcohol. I want my life back. And from Park Avenue to Park Bench, it doesn't matter who's affected by this disease. It affects us all, rich and poor. Every ethnicity, it affects us all. Now, there's a crack epidemic in the North Shore, and this is cheaper, and they can't afford pills here. So it's all demographics too, of who's doing what. But most people are dying from pills now. Pills and heroin. Heroin's making a comeback. Now I want to tell you about insurance policies. There's a new law that's coming out. It's the Parity Mental Health Act, which the federal government passed a law that will be in full effect in 2014, which states that insurance companies cannot treat addicts or alcoholics different than any other disease, which means they can't say, all right, we'll give you 3 days in detox or 1 day here, because that's what they've been doing. But now the insurance companies are starting to deny coverage for people who relapse if they only relapse on opiates. GHI is one of them, and if you have GHI, I want to tell you, first time you go, they'll do some treatment on you, but the second time, if you don't say you drink alcohol or do Valium, Xanax, or Klonopin, they tell you you have to do intensive outpatient, and if you fail that, maybe we'll let you go to another one. So this is another problem insurance companies are giving us, not just me. That's like telling someone, if you don't die in treatment in the next 5 days, and then you get out and you're still hooked on opiates, we might help you, we might not help you, but we're not keeping you inpatient at rehab. I'm going to tell you the 28 days, the 28-day thing, that's an insurance company thing too. Insurance companies planned on it being a 28-day. I tell everybody, please,